Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are we getting on? Welcome to a brand new camp build, and today we are in the ash heap once again, and we're going to build a camp up around the new mineshaft shelter entrance that's been recently added to the game. So, quite happy with this one, so let's jump to it. Okay then. So yeah, new mineshaft shelter entrance. Haven't done the shelter yet, but doing the outside today. Have a little look at where we are. See the camp right there. We are down in the ash heap, right next to Mount Blair train yard, just along the railway tracks a little bit from that. Got Lewisburg's all the way over there, Charleston up that way, nuclear coal factory over that way, and there we go. Good little spot right in the middle of the ash heap this, just outside of the area where the air gets toxic as well, so convenient in that regard. So, we've got a little bit of water in the back corner, we've got a few bits and pieces knocking around the area as well that we're going to incorporate in. Let's have a crack at this mineshaft entrance. This thing, as you may have heard, is a bit of a nightmare to place. It doesn't like to go further away from you than that, and the game is just awkward about placing things that you can't see, if that makes any sense, in general. So the fact you can't see the bottom of it sometimes just makes it even more difficult to place. And then, of course, once you try and pick it up again, it says no for a couple of times. So, not ideal. A little bit of patience is required to get that into place, but the problem I had with this here is it does have a habit of sinking through the surface of the ground there a bit. And in some cases that's okay, but where we're moving it from now, the pile of earth over the lift there was kind of making it look like the lift had nowhere to go. So, I kind of wanted to avoid that and have that part of it actually exposed rather than under the earth. So we'll jiggle it around a bit. Come on. Yeah, it looks okay. Tucked towards the back, we can build out from here, and it doesn't look too much like there's anything blocking the functioning of the lift, so that'll do nicely. So I'm going to drop a train car in here. My idea was with this to use the train tracks, because as a mine shaft, you're going to need a way to get your minerals or whatever you've been pulling out of the mine away from the site, so the train made sense. Unfortunately, the railway tracks act as a solid object, so I wasn't ever going to be able to, I think, get this train car quite where I want it, which is slightly frustrating. But a new plan was developed, and it worked out quite nicely. So we'll shift this around to the side instead. Doesn't need to be perfect right now. I messed around with this for quite a while trying to figure out where I wanted it, but we'll come back to it in a minute. Now it's in the general area. And have a look at the other side of the mineshaft first. So I'm going to need, as this is going to be a player camp after all, a functional crafting space. So that's what we're going to tuck on the side. I want something that looks like it belongs, but kind of doesn't distract too much from the mine shaft, but looks like it's all sort of incorporated and always went together, that kind of thing. So we're going to attach to the side of this a relatively simple structure, which is going to do the job, and decoration of course will go a long way, but it should hopefully be simple enough that the design doesn't detract too much from the focal point, which is the mine shaft. So foundations here are a little bit high. Just a note, you can clip foundations through the base of the mine shaft, but you can't place the mine shaft on foundations. So a little build order note if you want to do something along those lines. In this case it doesn't really matter, we're just going around the side of it. So there we go. 2 by 3, dead simple, and we're going to put some workshop walls on here just because it kind of fits with the colour scheme of the ash heap. Technically you could, I suppose, use brick actually. There's a few brick buildings around the ash heap, so it wouldn't look too out of place if you wanted to do that, but I've gone with the metal ones. I will stick some walls in, quick as we like. Got a few windows. I'm actually going to close up the ones at the front, sort of, as you'll see in the tour, but it just adds a little bit more texture and a little bit more interest to the building when the time comes. So I'm looking here because I want to decide on the shape and the height of the building. I thought about making it a bit more interesting, but as I say, I don't want to detract from the mine shaft too much. So we're going to keep it relatively low, put a sloped roof because it's always slightly more interesting than a flat one. When it wants to play ball, there we go, come on. Not asking you to do much. Nice. So dead simple, we've got a little back door here because I want access to this pond, which is actually full of toxic water, not dirty water, which is a bit inconvenient. But there are a few spots around I can find dirty water if I really need to. It's a short jog away. But we'll stick a water purifier in there for now. And we'll come back to the front. So let's shove this train car over a little bit now. We'll figure out exactly how I want to place it. Which is basically as close to the mineshaft as I can get it. but sticking quite a long way forward. Obviously it's a huge prefab that, so it's not too difficult to achieve both. And I want to kind of line it up with the edge of the bus here, because I'm going to use the bus as part of the outer wall of the camp. So I kind of want them to line up ready for that front edge to go in. The mentality is that the mine shaft and the train car were kind of already here, and the bus obviously as well, and the Vault Dweller has moved in and just sort of fortified it to make it into a home, made it a bit safer. So it's kind of my head canon for the build. So here I want to combine a guard post, which I'm going to sort of custom build, with a entrance to the train car, because you can kind of just path straight up the side of the foundation, but it doesn't look very sensible. So we'll tuck this foundation over. You can just about, as you can see there, clip through the edge of the train car foundation. If you go too far over, it won't do it, but I wanted to sit it nice and close. We're a little too close here, as you can see, because the stair won't snap in. The foundation's blocking it. So we'll just have to carefully nudge it back over it. See the train track's causing an issue just trying to place that down out of the way. So we'll shuffle this over a tiny bit. Just a fraction. Let's see if that's far enough. Here we go. Nice. So I'm going to pull that out. And this will now provide us with both a guard post and a way to access the train car. So let's drop a flat guard post on here. I've used the tall ones quite a few times recently, so I thought we'll do something a bit different. Plonk. Nice and easy. And unfortunately, I'm still disappointed we can't put the small railings on the side here, because that would have looked quite good there. But I changed my mind a couple of times on the railing on the left here, but you can see it will go on. You just need to shove the guard post out of the way a little bit. You can get one on the other side if it were appropriate. Obviously it wouldn't be here, but you can build up some quite interesting sort of guard posts with that, which is always good to know. Now, I want to nudge this right up so it sits close to the front edge but is fully supported, like that. And there we go. So, for the front entrance, I'm going to use the version of these perimeter wall frames without stairs to form the basis of the doorway. But we need to use stairs to get them to snap in and then sort of glitch it a little bit. So, first things first, we'll make sure it's the right height. I want it as tall as I can get, because when I put a doorway on this, as you'll see in a second, we're going to need as much clearance as possible to be able to get through the doorway. But this is a bit too high at the moment, as the actual piece I want is going to be the one at the back, and that will be floating if I leave it where it is. So there we go. Let's just check that's not floating. Yep, all good. Nice. So that looks ridiculously tall right now, but once we stick that on, suddenly it's not so tall. You see what I was angling towards. So that's our door in place. Incidentally, if you wanted to put a door on there, you would need to have it on a foundation, so we're going to have to work around the fact there's going to be no actual door on it, but it'll look pretty solid when I'm done, I think. So we're going to build up and around that, just to create a solid front wall. Keep the bad guys out. So, good old reverse junk fence, just angle that one up to close that little gap there. Nice, and we'll head over to the other side in a moment. I'm being picky, can you tell? Here we go, that's good. So, over on this side, I went for the one with tyres on, because that one didn't want to work and it looked overly floaty. And I know I said before, sometimes the game doesn't like you placing things when you can't see them. It just, if they're not actually visible on screen, it won't let you place them. In this instance, the opposite was kind of true. I couldn't really see the other end of this junk wall, but it actually made it easier to place. So, I guess the rules are the rules right up until the point that they're not anymore. So, I'm sure that's a very helpful tip, but it is what it is, you know. Either way, we got that in there. It's kind of sitting on the metal sort of shards from the front of the bus there, but it sits close to the door frame there. Closes up the gap quite nicely, and the odd angle adds a bit of extra interest and dimension and texture to it, which is cool. So we've got a big gap here between the bus and the building. Unfortunately, this Nukem Cola machine does not want to just drop in there for some reason. The collision on these things can be a bit weird sometimes, so he didn't want to play ball there. Tyre is left over from my previous efforts to make it work. So we're going to go with the rug glitch, such as it is in 76. Just plonk that on the rug, pick up the rug so that the machine comes with it, and we can then persuade it to sit close into the gap. It's not perfect, but even though it sinks into the ground, it looks like a piece of kind of trash or discarded machinery that's just chucked there. So I kind of like the look of that. It goes with the vibe of the ash heap quite well. Nice. So, last section of main building before we head off and decorate. I want to close off this back edge, which is not strictly speaking necessary, but obviously with it open, any intruder can just come running straight into the camp. So I want to close it off, and it gives it a more complete feeling. These days, if I don't have my camp walled off, I tend to feel like I haven't finished it. But there we go. We'll tweak the angle on that a little bit. Nice. Another one on this side. And you may have spotted the potential problem already, but we'll get to that in just a sec. Once this wants to sit in. Come on. There's a few gaps here and there that you could effectively climb over around that train car, but I don't mind too much. Looks okay. So we're going to drop this tired wall in last, just to kind of cover the corner. Its odd shape kind of works quite well for that. There'll be a few gaps, but nobody's getting through it, so that's the main thing. And it looks good at a glance. This is the back of the camp, and it's more of a finished look effect that I'm going for, rather than being 100% defensible. So I'll persuade it eventually. Being right up against the edge of the build area here, and also against the foundation on the mine shaft there, is a bit awkward. So a little bit of tweaking required. Couldn't get it to sit too close at all without using the rug glitch, so I had to repeat that procedure there. But there we go. So nice and closed up. Let's decorate and do a little tour, shall we? And here we go. So, quite happy to have those mine cars out front. They actually fit perfectly on the rails, which is really cool. For some reason they're not working properly at the moment, and I can't actually place any crops in them, which is slightly annoying. But once I realised they fit perfectly on the tracks, I was like, yes, I am doing that. A few extra bits and pieces around. Those of you who are fans of No Respawns may recognise some of the style of this entranceway, which was not the original plan, if I'm honest, but I sort of got 3/4 of the way through it and went, huh, okay then. So there's a little nod for you. I suppose it's inevitable given how many of his videos I've watched over the years. Gonna happen sooner or later. So with the bus here, I've sort of barricaded it up and piled a load of boxes there so that nothing can just climb inside it. It looks kind of scrappy and basically keeps anything from going in there and just shooting through the windows. Or it would if they didn't just spawn inside it anyway, which they kind of do. So I might have to just drop a turret in there. But all in all, I do quite like that front entrance. It's got a couple of new bits and pieces there as well, which is cool. It's a nice muddy but open area just inside the gate there. A few crops knocking around, a few bits of stuff growing. As usual, the gourds are spread out all over the place because you know what they like to place. They don't like to sit close to anything, really. And I've gone for a fireplace with a little cooking stove on the top of it because there wasn't really anywhere else that it looked appropriate. So, we'll have a look down here first. There is our mine shaft entrance. You can still access that. I haven't done anything with the mine shaft yet. We'll do that in another video. But it is there. Tucked nicely in the back. And for a very simple square room, or rectangular room, I like how this little crafting room has come out. So to mix things up, got some of the stuff sticking out from the walls as well. Loads of bits of decoration and stuff just to bring it to life. And those wall-mounted shelves finally work properly. Ah, I've only been waiting for that for like 2.5 years. They used to kind of clip through and go the wrong way around. It was really annoying and I couldn't use them. But they are working properly now, so I'm overjoyed about that. So symptomatic in the corner, loads of bits and pieces of decoration just to give it a little bit of life and flavour. A little look out the back. I do love the lighting in the ash heap lately. I've been very, very much enjoying that. Not much going on out there apart from the water purifier, but we can access it. Keep that door locked just to keep any bad guys out. Everything you could need in there. There's that decon arch. I do like the look of this mine shaft, it's cool. Hard to fit into a lot of camps, but I like the way it's come out on this one, so pretty pleased with it, I've got to say. So we've got our Nuka-Cola collector on there, because he's kind of obligatory for me at the moment. Just tucked on his own little stand. Didn't look quite right anywhere else, so I built him his own foundation to sit on. And a couple of extra bits and pieces tucked beside it as well. Our barrel is actually a refrigerator. I needed one somewhere.
Directive. Acquire all junk.
Turret stand in the guard post there, just to cover the front entrance. We do get a few robots and stuff spilling down from the train yard up there, so kind of necessary. We'll head into the player home part of the camp. So, loads and loads of decoration going on here. It's mostly a place for a bed and a few other bits and pieces, but I do like the look in here. It's really cool. Nice lighting, that's a bit weird. Loads of displays, somewhere to hang out and relax. kitty. Put the fortune teller machine in. I had to put that one in somewhere. A few bits on the wall. Happy I managed to squeeze a double bed with actual covers on it down this end as well. Went quite well. And pleased we can actually get around that corner as well, because I was a little concerned given how narrow this train car is. I might not be able to get through the gap here, but it works just about. I did have to spin that flag around a few times to make sure you could get through. Some persuasion still required. It's a weird thing, it's always harder to move around when you're walking than when you're running in this particular game. The collision seems to be more of an issue. But there we go. Our nice little player home. Getting this door to work when you can't see it is hard. There we go. Awesome. So, thank you very much for watching. I do hope you enjoyed. If you did, please do hit all those shiny buttons down below for me. Very, very much appreciated. Social media links, merch store, channel memberships down there as well if you want to support the channel in that way. And if you get a chance to join us on the live streams as well, we are continuing with Fallout 76 and Mass Effect 2 as well. But for now, thank you very much for watching. I look forward to speaking to you all very, very soon.